Welcome to the dawn of ancient Israel, and our journey begins in the rugged lands of Canaan, where early tribes first walked. Life started with nomadic tribes, shepherds moving with their flocks across the land. The patriarchs, leaders of families and faith, carried the early traditions of Israel. Tribal life meant moving, resting, and surviving where water and pasture could be found. These early journeys shaped the people fervent, resilience born from desert paths.
Abraham, the great patriarch, is remembered as the father of Israel's story.
Right. The promise was simple yet profound, descendants as countless as the stars.
Daily life was humble, drawing water, preparing food, tending herds.
Faith meant movement. Abraham's family journeyed to new lands, guided by divine promise.
Canaan, the promised land, became the heart of Israel's origins.
Music and storytelling filled the silence of the hills.
Simple tools kept daily life moving. Grain turned into bread, the food of survival. Blessings were sacred forzen. The promise of faith passed from one generation to the next. Tribes were led by elders. Wisdom was their greatest strength.
Waterways like the Jordan River kept the tribes alive.
Inside their tents, families shared stories by lamplight.
Altars marked their devotion, sacrifices offered to honor the divine. The covenant became the foundation, a bond between people and God. Each stop on the journey carried hope for tomorrow. This land, Canaan, became the cradle of Israel's story.
Jacob's dream revealed a bridge between heaven and earth, a sign of divine connection. That night, Jacob wrestled with the unknown and received the name Israel.
Rachel, remembered for her beauty and devotion, became a mother of Israel.
Tribal life was family-centered. Campfires lit up nights of story and song.
Joseph, the dreamer, received his famous coat of many colors.
But jealousy grew, Diane. His brothers saw him as a rival.
In betrayal, Joseph was cast into a pit by his own kin. Sold to traders, Joseph's journey carried him toward Egypt. His brothers lied, and Jacob mourned, believing Joseph lost forever. Joseph entered Egypt, a land of power, riches, and strange gods. Through wisdom, Joseph rose, interpreting Pharaoh's dreams of famine and plenty. His foresight prepared Egypt for years of famine. In time, famine drove his brothers to Egypt, Quashanas, fulfilling Joseph's dream. Instead of vengeance, Joseph forgave, a powerful act of unity. And Jacob's sorrow lifted Trass. Father and son were together once more. The Israelites settled in Egypt, prospering in a new land. But even in Egypt, their traditions and stories endured. Egypt dazzled with power, gefunden, temples and monuments that stretched to the sky. But Pharaoh grew fearful, the Israelites multiplied, and power began to shift. So bondage began, the people of Israel enslaved in a foreign land. Their days were filled with labor, their cries heavy with pain.
But hope stirred Ein. A child was born who would change their fate.
His name was Moses Fuz, placed in a basket, drifting into destiny.
Pharaoh's daughter found him and raised him as her own.
Moses grew in the house of Pharaoh, but his heart remained with his people.
One day, Moses saw injustice, an overseer striking a slave. Defending his kin, Moses struck back and fled into exile.
From palace to pasture, he lived humbly as a shepherd. Then, upon Sinai, a burning bush spoke Romshud, a voice calling his name. Moses removed his sandals korsfumen, for he stood on holy ground.
But he resisted, uncertain, unready to lead a people.
So God gave him signs, power to turn staff into serpent, water into blood.
At last, Moses returned to Egypt, a messenger of freedom.
He stood before Pharaoh with the words, "Let my people go."
But Pharaoh's heart was hard. He refused to listen.
Help me! At Mara, the water was bitter, undrinkable.
Charge! Attack! Push forward!
The last plague struck Naflu. The firstborn of Egypt fell.
But hunger soon spread me, Edai. The people longed for bread.
We are trapped! There is no escape!
Step by step, they crossed into safety.
The people of Israel set out into the desert, hearts full of song.
At last, they reached Sinai, Oner Pakalton, a mountain wrapped in mystery.
Victory! We are free!
You should surely share the burden with other leaders.
Den verkassen. Als sagst du das denn?
sword!
When Moses grew weary, Aaron and Hur held his arms steady. Moses climbed into the fire, called to meet God.
I will break these!
Moses raised his staff claf, and a miracle unfolded. Moses begged for mercy, interceding for his people. Moses, enraged, shattered the tablets of covenant. Thunder, fire, and cloud descended. The mountain shook.
What has happened here?
God provided abundantly, quails by evening, manna by morning. At last, Pharaoh relented, and freedom was granted.
Frogs swarmed the land, filling homes and palaces.
Oh my goodness! Look at this!
Oh my God! Incredible!
Aaron and his sons were set apart for Mount, consecrated as priests.
When serpents bit the people, healing came by looking to a bronze serpent.
He reminded them of the law, to guide them in the land ahead.
The people remembered Samson's courage and his sacrifice for Israel's deliverance. Even in danger, David spared Saul, honoring God's anointed king.
Meanwhile, the Philistines threatened Israel, testing the young kingdom.
They returned with fruit so large, it took 2 men to carry. After Joshua, the Israelites entered an era with no king, just tribes, villages, and the guidance of judges.
Othniel, the first judge, led Israel to victory over their enemies.
Though offered a crown, Gideon refused, reminding Israel that Yahweh alone was king.
Then came Samson, foretold by an angel to a barren woman.
Music and dance lifted spirits, praising God through every song and step.
The Israelites demanded a king to unify the tribes, longing for a strong leader. At night, prayers rose to the heavens, echoing the covenant with God.
The temple of God's name began to rise in Jerusalem, a symbol of faith and unity.
Trade and prosperity flourished, making Israel a beacon of culture and commerce in the region.
But Gideon's son Abimelech declared himself king, plunging Israel into bloodshed.
On the Sabbath, they rested, reflecting on God's guidance and covenant.
Knowledge of life and nurture passed down, ensuring the next generation thrived.
Samuel prayed for guidance, seeking God's will for his people.
Stone by stone, the temple took shape, a testament to Solomon's vision and devotion.
Saul sought Samuel's counsel, though trust had begun to waver.
But 10 spread fear, speaking of giants and fortified cities.
A cloud filled the tabernacle. God dwelt among his people.
Israel rose in battle, Otasis, defeating King Sihon of the Amorites.
Moses blessed the 12 tribes cumulant, words of hope for their future.
Life was simple: mud brick homes, bread ovens, and shepherds guiding their flocks under the sun.
With victory came peace, families sang, fields bloomed.
From youth, Samson's strength was unmatched, a gift bound by his Nazirite vow.
Life went on. Children played, flocks grazed, and daily chores filled the day.
Saul fell in battle against the Philistines, ending his tumultuous reign.
Solomon, David's son, was anointed king of Israel, beginning a new era of prosperity.
Caleb and Joshua cried out, "Sace! With God, we can overcome."
And mighty King Og of Bashan was struck down as well.
Meanwhile, God prepared David, a shepherd boy, for a greater purpose.
Festivals brought the tribes together, celebrating harvests and covenant faith.
By night, a pillar of fire guided them through the darkness.
From Mount Nebo, Moses saw the land, though he could not enter.
The city gate was more than an entrance. It was where elders settled disputes and shared wisdom.
Deborah, a prophetess and judge, gave wisdom and courage to Israel.
Jotham warned them with a parable of trees, showing the danger of choosing the wrong leader.
Samson clashed with the Philistines, even at his own wedding feast.
Merchants connected distant tribes, bringing new goods and ideas to villages.
Shepherds counted and cared for their flocks, maintaining livelihood and order.
God chose Saul, a humble shepherd, to be Israel's first king. Instead of wealth or power, Solomon asked God for wisdom to lead his people. Inside, gold and precious wood adorned the halls, creating a sacred, magnificent space.
Festivals united the people, celebrating harvests, faith, and community. When the cloud lifted, they marched, Yah. When it stayed, they rested. The people chose fear, refusing to enter the land. The Moabites sought Balaam's curse against Israel. He prayed one last time, entrusting the people to God.
Farming sustained the tribes. Barley, wheat, and olives filled the fields of Israel.
She summoned Barak to lead warriors against a powerful enemy.
David was crowned king of Judah, beginning a new chapter for Israel.
Abimelech's rule ended violently, his pride crushed by a single stone. In vengeance, he released foxes with torches, burning Philistine crops.
During the Feast of Tabernacles, families built booths to remember their desert journey. David was secretly anointed to succeed Saul as king. God granted him unparalleled wisdom, making him a revered and fair ruler.
Even in daily life, prayer reminded them of God's presence in every moment.
Trade spread ideas and goods, connecting Israel with neighboring cultures.
With oil poured on his head, Saul was anointed as God's chosen ruler.
But complaints rose again. The people longed for more.
So God decreed 40 years in the wilderness.
But God gave voice to a donkey tuanake, opening Balaam's eyes.
And there, on Nebo, Moses died Countha, servant of the Lord.
When Sisera's chariots clogged in the mud, Israel triumphed against all odds.
A giant named Goliath mocked Israel, challenging them to war.
Saul's first test. He led Israel to victory against the Ammonites.
Through diplomacy and courage, David united the tribes into one kingdom.
The Israelites fell into a repeating cycle: sin, suffering, repentance, and rescue.
Villagers built wells to provide water. Life and survival depended on.
Solomon's judgment between two women claiming the same child became legendary for fairness.
With just a donkey's jawbone, Samson struck down 1,000 men.
Priests instructed the young, ensuring God's law passed to the next generation.
Baking was essential. Unleavened bread a daily staple and festival food. Women spun wool and wove cloth, turning raw fibers into clothing for the community.
Solomon prayed, dedicating the temple to God, asking for his blessing and guidance.
Quail rained down in abundance, more than they could eat.
Rebellion rose again. Korah and his followers defied Moses.
David stepped forward, trusting God to deliver Israel from the giant.
Victory brought celebration. The people cheered their new king.
Tools were sharpened, preparing for harvest and ensuring survival. He carried off the gates of Gaza, defying the Philistines once again.
Jephthah, once an outcast, became a mighty judge when Israel needed him most.
Jael, a courageous woman, struck down Sisera, ending the threat.
No man knew his grave, for God buried him in secret.
Instead of cursing, Balaam blessed them, declaring God's favor. Some Israelites secretly kept idols, mixing old traditions with the worship of Yahweh. Potters and traders kept the economy alive, connecting villages and towns.
Markets buzzed with life, celebrating community and abundance.
David captured Jerusalem, establishing it as Israel's eternal capital. His reign brought peace, cities flourished, trade prospered, and harvests were bountiful.
Even his own brother and sister challenged his authority.
The earth opened. The rebels were swallowed alive.
But sin spread illness. Israel fell into idolatry with Moab.
Israel mourned Moses 30 days, their leader, their prophet. Together, Deborah and Barak sang a victory song, remembered for generations. But he made a tragic vow, promising to sacrifice whatever greeted him first at home. With a single stone, David struck down Goliath, proving God's power.
But pride soon crept in, and Saul began to act independently of God's commands.
Women's weaving brought beauty and identity to every village.
But Samson's heart was captured by Delilah, who plotted with the Philistines.
Skilled craftsmen built tools, weapons, and treasures for daily life and worship.
Evening meals united families, celebrating daily blessings.
Families gathered at stone altars, offering sacrifices as part of their covenant with God.
The Ark of the Covenant was brought to Jerusalem, signifying God's presence among his people.
Through trade and alliances, Israel connected with distant lands, enriching the kingdom. He composed proverbs and wisdom literature, teaching truth and justice for generations.
But judgment fell. Miriam was struck with leprosy.
To prove his choice, God made Aaron's staff blossom with life.
Phinehas's zeal stopped a deadly plague among the people. Then Joshua arose, strong and courageous, chosen to lead.
But without strong leaders, the Israelites faced raids from neighboring tribes.
Later, Gideon was called while hiding, threshing wheat in secret.
God granted him victory over his enemies, a moment of triumph.
Without kings, village elders led justice, resolving disputes and guiding the people.
Music and dance expressed gratitude. Faith and joy intertwined in every note.
When Saul disobeyed God's command against the Amalekites, his favor waned.
Israel celebrated David's victory, their hope renewed.
David danced before the ark, expressing pure joy and devotion. Art, literature, and education thrived, with Solomon fostering a golden age of culture.
The stories of past judges inspired courage, faith, and hope for the future.
Day after day she pressed him, until at last Samson revealed his secret.
Solomon also wrote songs, praising God and capturing the beauty of life.
At Meribah, water poured from stone, but Moses struck in anger.
Joshua was chosen, commissioned to lead after Moses.
The people prepared to cross. The Jordan lay before them.
Under David, Israel prospered. Security, trade, and faith flourished.
Samuel confronted Saul. You have rejected God's word.
The kingdom's wealth grew, making Israel admired by neighbors near and far.
The Queen of Sheba visited, impressed by Solomon's wisdom and wealth.
But Saul's jealousy of David grew, seeding conflict within the kingdom.
But his only daughter came out to greet him, sealing his tragic vow. God reduced Gideon's army, proving victory would come by faith, not numbers.
In despair, they cried out to God, pleading for deliverance.
His strength left him when his hair was cut, and he was bound in chains. Once again, Moses prayed to us, and she was healed.
Stories of heroes and judges were passed down around fires, teaching courage and faith.
From a young age, children learned to work the land, honoring tradition and survival. Elders taught the children stories of judges, victories, and God's faithfulness.
12 spies went ahead to glimpse the land of promise. For this, Moses would not enter the promised land. Before his death, Moses spoke, urging faithfulness to God's covenant. At last, the land of promise lay before them. Hope was alive again.
In response, God raised up judges, charismatic leaders to guide and defend his people.
By night, Gideon's small force shattered the Midianites with torches and trumpets.
For generations, Israelite women mourned her fate, remembering the cost of rash promises.
The harvest brought joy, food for families, and a reminder of God's provision.
As the sun set, villages quieted. A day of toil and devotion came to a close.
Blind and bound, Samson prayed for strength one last time and brought the temple down.
And so the era of the judges closed, a land of faith, struggle, and enduring culture.
Saul mourned, realizing God's favor had departed from him.
Solomon initiated massive building projects, shaping Israel's architectural legacy.
He answered every question wisely, proving God's favor was upon him.
The Torah is a gift from God, and it teaches us how to live a good life.
We make our own way.
The loom is a complex machine, you see. Remember the principles of harmony.
How much for these fresh figs, my friend?
For you, a special price, 6 shekels.
Music and joy filled the land, celebrating the blessings of God's reign.
And where are the new border lines?
Solomon's diplomacy strengthened Israel's position among nations far and wide.
Art, music, and literature celebrated Israel's golden age under Solomon. His temple and palace, built with unmatched splendor, stood as a testament to his wisdom and the enduring strength of his people. The laws, history, and wisdom of Israel.
Solomon's wisdom resolved conflicts, bringing fairness and unity to the kingdom.
Instead of vengeance, Joseph forgave, a powerful act of unity.
At last, Moses returned to Egypt healed, a messenger of freedom.
Trade thrived, connecting Israel with surrounding nations and bringing wealth to the city.
Music and celebration were common, uniting the people in joy and culture.
Markets offered essential and luxury items, fueling economic growth.
Solomon's son, Rehoboam, became king, but tensions brewed among the tribes. Judah's farmers cultivated grains, sustaining the kingdom and its people. Massive cedars from Lebanon were cut and transported, each destined for the Holy Temple.
The Ark of the Covenant was carried ceremoniously into the temple, God's presence among his people. Shepherds tended their flocks, a vital part of the kingdom's economy and culture.
Evening prayers maintained spiritual connection and discipline among citizens.
Faith remained central, with priests ensuring that worship continued in both realms.
Scholars diligently copied texts, preserving the laws, history, and wisdom of Israel.
Solomon meticulously planned the temple, a grand house for God's presence on earth.
With the temple complete, Jerusalem entered its golden age of prosperity and faith.
Life thrived outside the city. Farmers cultivated crops, feeding Jerusalem and beyond. Scholars preserved knowledge, copying texts that would guide generations. Intellectual discussions thrived, covering philosophy, history, and ethics. Historical events were carefully recorded, preserving Israel's legacy for future generations. Agriculture thrived in Israel, with vineyards and olive groves providing food and trade goods.
Families maintained traditions, passing down values, faith, and culture.
With Solomon's death, Israel mourned the loss of its wise and prosperous king. Economic burdens tested the people, especially with divided governance and tribute demands. Preparations began for the grand dedication ceremony, uniting all of Israel.
Sacrifices were offered, honoring God and celebrating the sacred temple. Bustling markets offered goods from near and far, keeping the city lively and prosperous. Artistry adorned public buildings, making Jerusalem a city of beauty and devotion.
Ships loaded with goods sailed far and wide, spreading Israel's influence through trade.
Temple festivals drew people from all tribes, fostering unity and devotion.
Religious devotion remained central, with offerings made regularly at shrines and temples.
Stone for the foundation and walls was quarried with care, ensuring a lasting structure.
Solomon's fair judgments earned admiration, making him renowned for wisdom and justice.
The northern tribes rebelled, feeling burdened by heavy taxes and labor.
Jeroboam established new temples to prevent his people from returning to Jerusalem.
Artisans beautified homes and streets, celebrating faith and heritage in everyday life.
Artisans created exquisite jewelry and pottery, blending skill with artistry.
Harvest season brought abundance, filling markets and homes with fresh produce. Education emphasized literacy and wisdom, preparing future leaders of Israel. Homes and public spaces reflected artistry, enhancing daily life and culture.
The kingdom split, Israel in the north and Judah in the south, each with its own king. Markets remained lively, a hub for commerce, news, and social life.
Solomon prayed, dedicating the temple to God and asking for his perpetual blessing. The temple's foundation was laid, signaling the start of an era of divine worship.
Artisans flourished, crafting treasures that symbolized Israel's wealth and devotion. Judah retained devotion to the temple in Jerusalem, reinforcing its religious identity. Giant beams rose into place, forming the sacred halls of the future temple. Davut forming power. The streets of Jerusalem buzzed with life, trade, and daily routines.
Children played games that taught agility, skill, and teamwork.
Artisans showcased exquisite works, reflecting both skill and devotion.
Exotic goods and animals fascinated citizens, symbolizing Israel's far-reaching trade.
Rehoboam focused on Judah, maintaining loyalty in the southern kingdom.
Music and dance enriched life, celebrating both religious and secular occasions.
A divine fire from heaven confirmed God's presence, blessing Solomon and Israel.
Education thrived. Children learned history, law, and sacred traditions under wise scholars. Kings of both kingdoms worked to inspire loyalty and maintain order. Skilled artisans crafted ornate decorations, blending artistry and devotion. Joyous music and dance filled Jerusalem as the nation celebrated this holy occasion.
Potters and weavers provided essentials, while also expressing creativity through craft.
Music and dance festivals brought joy, strengthening cultural bonds across the city.
Debates on law, ethics, and philosophy sharpened young minds for leadership.
Jeroboam ruled Israel, establishing new centers of worship and governance.
Despite political division, daily life went on, with families, markets, and fields bustling with activity.
Education focused on the Torah and history, nurturing wise and faithful citizens.
Skilled artisans continued crafting essential and decorative items for daily life.
Festivals drew the nation together, celebrating faith, culture, and abundance.
Merchants prepared caravans, expanding trade across neighboring lands. The inner walls were gilded in gold, a reflection of Israel's wealth and reverence.
The nation united in worship, strengthening faith and community across the tribes.
Solomon completed his palace, reflecting Israel's prosperity and architectural brilliance.
Builders constructed homes and structures, shaping the city's thriving neighborhoods.
Craftsmen produced ceremonial items, enhancing the splendor of worship.
Tensions simmered between the two kingdoms, shaping Israelite history for centuries. Tools for farming and trade were essential, supporting both kingdoms' economies. Exotic spices and luxury goods brought by traders enriched daily life in Jerusalem.
Trade brought diversity and wealth, connecting Israel to the wider world.
People worried about the future, uncertain of how the split would affect their lives. Trade connected the kingdoms, ensuring the flow of goods and fostering prosperity.
The Holy of Holies was prepared meticulously, the sacred dwelling of God's presence.
Bakers supplied the city with bread, a daily staple in the kingdom's diet.
Education extended to astronomy and mathematics, preparing scholars for diverse knowledge.
Trade persisted, connecting the kingdoms and sustaining economic growth.
Education began at home, passing down faith, customs, and songs from generation to generation.
Daily rituals ensured that God's presence remained central in Israelite life.
Jerusalem's defenses were fortified, protecting the city and ensuring lasting peace.
Women played a central role, providing sustenance and crafting essentials for households.
Public infrastructure grew, enhancing the city's functionality and beauty.
Religious leaders guided the kings, attempting to maintain faith amid political change. Religious and cultural festivals reinforced community identity across Israel and Judah.
The exterior gleamed in the sunlight, a beacon of faith visible across Jerusalem. Translations. The temple also became a center of learning, teaching law, scripture, and wisdom. As the sun set over Jerusalem, the city shone as a beacon of faith, wisdom, and prosperity. Religious instruction was central, guiding young hearts in law, faith, and ethics. As the sun set, Jerusalem's streets reflected peace, prosperity, and faith in daily life.
Temples served as centers of worship, education, and community life.
The Golden Age of Jerusalem united faith, culture, and daily life, leaving a legacy remembered through the ages.
Though divided, Israel and Judah developed their own cultures, traditions, and identities.
Early skirmishes highlighted the fragile peace between Israel and Judah.
Prophets emerged, warning of divine consequences for disobedience and injustice. Carved doors and beams completed the structure, blending beauty and sanctity. Solomon established a careful administration to maintain the temple and its rituals.
Daily temple rituals became central to life, fostering devotion and cultural identity.
Children learned skills and traditions from their families, ensuring cultural continuity. Temples glowed with decorations during festivals, uniting the community in worship.
Cultural education included music and recitation, nurturing creativity and tradition.
As evening fell, Jerusalem reflected the harmony of faith, knowledge, and prosperity. Festivals provided cultural cohesion, keeping traditions alive across Israel and Judah. Samaria became Israel's northern capital, while Jerusalem retained its spiritual significance in Judah.
Citizens adapted to division, focusing on family, trade, and faith in daily life.
Scholars preserved Israel's sacred texts, ensuring the teachings would endure.
International trade connected the kingdoms to distant lands, exchanging wealth and culture.
This piece truly embodies our devotion.
Indeed, the craftsmanship is exquisite.
Artisans' work adorned homes and temples, merging beauty with faith.
We've got fresh produce and the finest textiles here. Come closer, see what we have.
Life's milestones were celebrated with faith, community, and joyous traditions.
Education extended beyond the classroom, teaching practical skills for daily life. Musical training fostered cultural continuity and spiritual expression.
Weekly observances strengthened community ties and reinforced devotion to God.
Exotic goods from distant lands captivated citizens, highlighting Israel's trade networks.
Evenings were family time, where stories, faith, and meals strengthened bonds.
Remember these teachings, for they are the light that guides our path.
Festival preparations involved everyone, strengthening communal ties and cultural identity.
I can give you a better price if you buy more.
Let me see that one.
International trade connected the kingdoms to distant lands, exchanging wealth and culture. Stories and traditions were passed down.
Debates sharpened minds, blending tradition with wisdom and moral inquiry. Evening rituals reinforced devotion, keeping faith central in daily life.
Remember, devotion is a journey we all share, a path to peace and wisdom.
Understanding these principles of justice is fundamental.
Yes, teacher.
A royal procession, a display of power and prestige, celebrated triumphs and divine favor. Preserving knowledge through translation and copying kept Israelite wisdom alive. Historical records preserved the deeds of kings, prophets, and ordinary citizens alike. As the sun set over Israel and Judah, daily life continued with faith, tradition, and resilience. Music and performance enriched religious life, lifting spirits and uniting communities.
Once upon a time, in a faraway land.
Et nos omnes expectavimus signa et mirabilia, quae praedixerant prophetae. Bene, et venit in terram.
Prophets like Elijah warned the people to abandon idolatry and follow God's commandments.
Prophets warned that foreign empires could bring destruction if Israel and Judah strayed.
Even in exile, prophets urged the people to remain faithful and hope for deliverance. The exiled Israelites faced pressures to assimilate, challenging their cultural identity. Religious practices resumed, reconnecting the people to their sacred traditions. The temple was blessed, a spiritual center for worship and renewal. Amid fear, prophets offered comfort, promising God's enduring presence for the faithful. Trade expanded, connecting Judea with neighboring regions and cultures. Recording genealogy connected present generations with ancestral heritage.
Under Persian guidance, Jerusalem flourished as a spiritual and cultural center.
Greek art and temples became visible symbols of new cultural authority.
Amos reminded Israel that justice and mercy were key to God's favor.
Anticipating hardships, families prepared for uncertain times ahead.
Exiled families adapted, maintaining their traditions while navigating foreign cultures.
Harvest festivals honored nature, tradition, and communal bonds. Alexander the Great's armies advanced, bringing Greece and new ideas to the region.
Public rituals strengthened community bonds and collective hope.
Secret lessons ensured that the language and sacred texts survived through generations.
Ezra restored knowledge of the law, guiding the people in faith and governance.
Life flourished again, with trade, music, and festivals bringing joy to the people.
Infrastructure projects improved life and strengthened local governance.
Isaiah foretold trials ahead, urging faithfulness and righteousness.
Messages of warning and hope reached distant communities, uniting people spiritually.
Secret gatherings preserved faith, even far from Jerusalem and the temple.
Prophets offered hope, promising that God would eventually restore them to Jerusalem. The completed walls marked a moment of triumph, security, and renewed identity. Envoys maintained communication and ensured Persian policies were respected. Faith and ritual continued, offering hope amid growing uncertainty. Governance combined law, faith, and justice to rebuild a strong and righteous society. The priests safeguarded spiritual life, ensuring tradition endured under foreign rule.
Greek troops arrived, leaving local populations both in awe and uncertainty.
The people had varied reactions. Some listened, others resisted change.
Prophets saw inequality firsthand, calling for repentance and justice.
Exiles kept farming practices alive, sustaining themselves while preserving traditions.
Repentance was the key message, promising redemption if the people returned to God.
Prophets reminded exiles that God's promises would endure, even in foreign lands.
Work on the temple progressed, a symbol of spiritual revival for all. Jerusalem stood restored, a testament to faith,
resilience, and the enduring spirit of the people. Texts were translated to preserve knowledge and make it accessible under Persian influence.
F. Exposure to foreign languages prepared citizens for trade and diplomacy.
Docines. Hellenistic culture introduced new art, architecture, and customs to the region.
Some texts were translated, allowing Greek-speaking audiences to learn Jewish teachings. Prophets boldly confronted leaders, demanding justice and adherence to God's law.
Education focused on scripture, ensuring that the next generation remained faithful.
Elders ensured that heritage, faith, and law were passed to the next generation.
Leaders sought compromise, balancing Greek authority with Jewish tradition.
Some citizens began to heed warnings, reflecting on their actions and faith.
Community leaders helped maintain order, culture, and faith among exiled populations. Festivals celebrated the return, uniting the community in joy and faith.
Under Persian rule, Judea was governed by local leaders under the oversight of distant governors.
Rebuilding fortifications restored security and civic pride to towns and cities. Local governance combined religious law with practical community needs.
Greek became the language of trade and administration, influencing daily life.
Festivals reflected cultural blending, though tensions sometimes arose.
Jeremiah warned Judah that disobedience could lead to exile and suffering. Famine and unrest tested the people, making prophetic warnings feel urgent. Exiles labored to survive, balancing work with devotion to their traditions. Life gradually stabilized as communities rebuilt homes, roads, and farms.
Debates arose as people weighed Hellenistic influence against traditional faith. Study circles helped preserve knowledge and guide moral choices. Despite exile, the people remained resilient, holding on to faith, culture, and hope for return.
Leaders worked to establish order, justice, and structure in the renewed city. Traditional festivals remained a cornerstone of family and community life.
Some festivals fostered cultural exchange and harmony with Persian rulers.
Some families prepared spiritually, hoping to withstand the coming trials.
Prophets demanded fairness, reminding leaders that justice was divine command.
Prophets instructed the people to prepare spiritually and practically for exile.
A royal decree permitted the Israelites to return home, rekindling hope and excitement.
Art and craftsmanship adorned the temple and city, celebrating culture and devotion.
Communities rebuilt, strengthening family life and urban resilience.
Greek architecture and entertainment became prominent, shaping cultural life.
The experiences of exile were recorded, preserving history and teaching future generations.
The temple remained central, sustaining faith and unity in the Persian period.
Persian rulers allowed Judeans some self-governance, balancing control and local autonomy.
Prophetic messages were preserved in scrolls to guide future generations.
Many leaders ignored warnings, choosing power over righteousness. Faith became a source of strength, sustaining families through hardship and uncertainty.
Agriculture resumed, ensuring food security and restoring daily life. Religious education ensured continuity of law, scripture, and tradition.
Preservation of sacred texts ensured continuity of faith and identity.
Education focused on law, ethics, and tradition, shaping responsible citizens.
Exiles embarked on the long journey home, hearts full of anticipation and faith. Greek trade practices improved commerce, connecting Judea with the wider Hellenistic world.
The stage was set for exile, as Israel and Judah faced the consequences of their actions.
In fear and hope, the people prayed for mercy and divine guidance.
Many Israelites were taken from their homes, marking the start of exile in foreign lands.
Justice and fairness were emphasized to maintain social cohesion.
Miracles by prophets like Elisha strengthened faith among the people.
Community gatherings provided hope, mutual support, and spiritual guidance.
The temple's foundation was laid anew, symbolizing spiritual renewal. The first Passover after exile was a moment of remembrance, celebration, and hope. Tributes kept the Persian administration functional, linking Judea to a vast empire.
Crafts and trades provided livelihoods and contributed to local prosperity. Even under Greek influence, many Jews preserved their faith in private.
Prophets' words sparked debate, challenging old habits and beliefs.
The prophets foretold exile as inevitable if the nation persisted in disobedience. Foreign armies advanced, signaling the beginning of captivity for the Israelites.
Education in faith and law shaped the next generation of faithful citizens. Persian forces maintained order, protecting the region while ensuring loyalty. Agriculture thrived, feeding communities and supporting trade under Persian oversight. Agricultural restoration nourished the people and supported trade networks.
Greek religious imposition led to conflict, challenging Jewish customs.
Cultural traditions were passed down, keeping identity alive, even in exile.
Returning Israelites began rebuilding Jerusalem's walls, restoring protection and pride.
Greek philosophy and education influenced scholars and students alike.
Kings and generals prepared defenses, yet the threat of exile loomed large.
Judah faced famine and siege, struggling to survive amid destruction and fear. Even in exile, prophets reminded the people to uphold justice, faith, and ethics. Temple music and ritual preserved cultural and spiritual identity.
Even kings sought advice from prophets, though often reluctantly.
Families returned to their homes, re-establishing community life and traditions.
Stories of exile and return reinforced resilience and cultural identity.
Religious festivals continued,
blending local devotion with imperial oversight.
Temple contributions were monitored, balancing religious practice with imperial oversight.
Loyal cities enjoyed privileges, blending Greek rule with local governance.
The Maccabees used cunning tactics, striking swiftly against the occupying forces. Law and order ensured a stable and just society across Judea.
Bread, a staple of life, connected daily sustenance with religious observance.
Hellenistic lifestyles influenced elites, creating cultural tension within communities.
Diplomacy ensured security and recognition for the new territories.
Administrative centers organized governance, law, and commerce efficiently.
Trade flourished, connecting Judea to the wider Mediterranean world. Under Hasmonean rule, Jerusalem prospered, blending faith, culture, and governance.
Play and recreation nurtured community bonds and youthful energy.
Libraries preserved wisdom and ensured continuity of knowledge. Ceremonial attire honored tradition and elevated religious ceremonies.
Early victories fueled hope, rallying more citizens to the cause.
Education emphasized faith, history, and the heroism of the Maccabees. Public works improved daily life, supporting commerce, agriculture, and city growth. Documenting history preserved the legacy of the Hasmonean dynasty and its people.
Daily life began early, with families working together to sustain their households.
Rituals connected citizens with faith, tradition, and social cohesion.
Artistic craftsmanship honored faith and enhanced ritual practice.
Greek education offered new knowledge, but challenged traditional teachings.
Strong fortifications ensured security and protected citizens from external threats.
Crafts not only served utility, but also expressed cultural creativity.
Evenings were filled with study, reflection, and the pursuit of wisdom.
Urban landscapes transformed, reflecting Hellenistic taste and influence.
Festivals celebrated victory, freedom, and renewal of traditions.
Leaders reinforced Jewish traditions, blending faith with political authority.
Farming and livestock provided food security and economic stability.
Daily life thrived under Hasmonean rule, blending work, faith, and culture. Communal generosity strengthened social bonds and civic harmony. The temple was reclaimed and purified, symbolizing faith and resilience.
Harvest celebrations honored the land and strengthened communal ties.
Oral traditions kept history and values alive, inspiring the next generation.
Education in the Torah shaped moral values and community knowledge from a young age.
Innovative farming methods increased productivity and supported population growth.
Clashing customs sparked tension, setting the stage for resistance.
Fortifications protected the fledgling territories, ensuring safety and order.
Secure trade routes encouraged commerce and economic prosperity.
Open debate nurtured civic engagement and moral reflection.
Hanukkah commemorated the rededication of the temple and the triumph of faith.
Taxes funded construction, military defense, and public works, supporting a thriving society. Festivals united citizens, reinforcing shared beliefs and cultural identity.
Women's craftsmanship was vital for family life and local trade.
Faith shaped daily life, with rituals reinforcing moral and communal bonds.
Translation bridged cultures, spreading knowledge while preserving heritage. Art flourished, capturing faith, history, and everyday life in enduring forms.
Discussions about autonomy and identity intensified among Jewish leaders.
The Maccabees established leadership, blending faith, law, and military strength.
Cooperation between religious and civil leaders strengthened governance.
The Hasmonean army trained to defend the kingdom and maintain internal order.
Markets were the heart of commerce, where goods, news, and culture intersected.
Training ensured that the community could defend itself while fostering discipline.
Education expanded, shaping the next generation of leaders and scholars.
Strong defenses protected citizens and ensured stability in turbulent times.
Art enhanced religious spaces, inspiring awe and devotion.
Skills were passed down, ensuring cultural and economic continuity.
Under the Hasmoneans, Jerusalem flourished culturally, spiritually, and socially, a beacon of Jewish identity.
Antiochus IV imposed Greek religious practices, fueling discontent among Jews.
Greek counterattacks challenged the fledgling independence of the Maccabees. Trade fairs fostered economic growth and cultural exchange.
Festivals reinforced tradition and strengthened community bonds.
In 63 BCE, Pompey the Great advanced on Jerusalem, bringing Rome to Judea's doorstep.
Artisans enriched daily life with functional and decorative creations.
Jerusalem stood restored, a symbol of faith, courage, and cultural revival. Festivals celebrated the unity and resilience of the Hasmonean kingdom. Skilled artisans enriched daily life and the local economy. Art and music enriched daily life, reflecting a vibrant culture under Hasmonean rule.
Light symbolized hope, faith, and communal identity.
Faithful families preserved traditions in secret, defying Hellenistic decrees.
Fair leadership kept citizens loyal, strengthening the movement.
The people reflected on their trials and triumphs, proud of their enduring spirit.
Historical records ensured that the story of the people and the dynasty was preserved. Rituals reinforced faith, community bonds, and cultural continuity.
Gardening and vineyards supported diets, trade, and community well-being.
Visual storytelling preserved history and inspired cultural pride.
Meticulous preservation of texts safeguarded heritage for future generations.
Intellectual debate strengthened religious and civic understanding among the people.
Agriculture remained the backbone of sustenance and economic stability. The arrival of Roman forces filled the city with anxiety and uncertainty.
Mattathias' courage sparked the beginning of the Maccabean revolt.
Support from villages bolstered the rebels' resources and morale. The Hasmonean dynasty consolidated power, uniting Judea under native leadership. Religious life flourished under Hasmonean oversight, keeping faith central to society. Community participation reinforced solidarity and pride in shared accomplishments. Cultural life thrived, blending traditional and contemporary forms of entertainment. Livestock provided food, wool, and trade resources across Judea. Music brought communities together, enriching celebrations and rituals.
Intellectual debates strengthened understanding of law, ethics, and tradition.
Festivals showcased creativity, reinforcing culture and tradition.
Rebels inspired citizens, uniting them against forced Hellenization.
Festivals brought the community together, celebrating heritage and faith. Every home reflected devotion, culture, and pride in identity.
Pompey's forces entered Jerusalem, marking the start of Roman control.
Mentorship nurtured intellectual growth and civic responsibility.
Religious life thrived in liberated towns, reaffirming cultural identity.
Territorial expansion strengthened the kingdom and its influence over neighboring regions.
Active participation in governance strengthened civic responsibility and order.
Celebrations honored military victories and strengthened national identity.
Strong family and community bonds created a resilient society.
Construction projects improved living conditions and reflected civic pride.
Artisan skills continued to thrive, supporting both economy and tradition.
Agriculture continued to feed the population and sustain the economy.
Strong social bonds preserved community cohesion in changing times.
Good. Again.
Faith endured as the cornerstone of identity amidst foreign rule.
Festivals remained a vital expression of cultural resilience.
The end of self-rule prompted reflection on the resilience and heritage of the people.
Now let's recite the words together.
Romans secured strategic locations to maintain control and enforce order. Festivals continued, blending tradition with new realities of Roman authority.
Military presence secured Roman control and deterred potential rebellions.
Intellectual debate nurtured moral and civic growth under Roman influence.
Governance under Rome brought legal systems and administrative order.
This pottery is truly exceptional. Indeed, a fine piece.
Please, listen to reason.
We must find peace.
We will not be silenced.
Romans allowed limited religious freedom to maintain local stability.
Your records, please, old man. They are all in order, sir.
Greetings, citizen. May I see your wares?
Interactions brought both tension and cultural exchange between Romans and locals.
The yield this year appears to be adequate, but we must verify the count.
Indeed, the quality is inconsistent.
Art preserved the story of the people, inspiring generations to come.
Public art celebrated creativity, culture, and communal identity.
Community collaboration strengthened societal resilience.
Despite foreign rule, cultural and religious life flourished.
Stories of past heroes inspired courage and cultural pride.
Thus, we come to understand the ancient texts, not merely as words, but as reflections of a timeless wisdom. Faith endured as the cornerstone of identity amidst foreign rule.
Despite all the political changes, we're still here, still celebrating.
Children studying, musicians performing, artists painting. Cultural pursuits thrive.
Markets fostered economy, culture, and social connections. Agricultural festivals reinforced cultural traditions and community bonds.
Stories of ancestors inspired pride and reinforced identity.
And that, my dear children, is how the little bird finally found its way home.
Economic prosperity connected Judea to the broader Mediterranean world.
Music reinforced communal bonds and enriched cultural life.
Sacred texts were carefully preserved, safeguarding heritage for future generations. Reflection on past heroes and traditions strengthened collective identity. Faith remained central, guiding daily life and moral principles.
These silks are from the east, the finest you will find.
What is your price for this spice?
And this versa.
The question before us is how to adapt these ancient laws.
Education ensured wisdom and faith would endure beyond occupation.
Therefore, we must continue to interpret these laws, my son.
Indeed, they are the foundation.
Intellectual pursuits ensured the vitality of tradition and scholarship.
Education in faith ensured continuity of cultural and religious identity.
Farming provided food, stability, and seasonal cultural celebrations. Farming provided food, stability, and seasonal cultural celebrations.
Farming provided illusion conceivable thinking. Farming provided illusion conceivable thinking.
Historical memory inspired pride and cultural resilience. Historical memory inspired pride and cultural resilience.
Honoring ancestors kept history alive and guided ethical living. Documentation ensured lessons and stories endured beyond conquest.
As day ends, the legacy of ancient Israel shines through the ages.
Though empires came and went, the spirit, faith, and culture of ancient Israel endured forever.